Good day, everyone. Good day. How's everyone doing? Welcome. Oh, I got my Knicks hat on, y'all. Welcome to New York and now. Okay, welcome to Morning Sip with Rev Melissa. I am Rev Melissa. SIP stands for Spirit and Practice. Where we practice because practice makes progress. Yes, it does. So I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to our series this week, which is Thread. And so this series has been inspired by a couple of things. It's been inspired by Mark Nepo's book, The Fifth Season. It's been inspired by William Stafford's poem, The Way It Is, where he talks about the thread. And yesterday we talked about what we have outgrown, and that was inspired by a poem by Diana Chapman Walsh called Pot Bound. So some of us have planted ourselves in a pot that we have grown out of, and it's time for us to replant ourselves into a pot that is a little bit bigger so that we can grow and we can expand our lives, our experiences, our expressions of ourselves, right? So, yesterday I asked, what have you outgrown? So, I want to share the poem again. He asked me a question I've never considered before. When is it that you know you have to go someplace else? At first, I think, I don't know. Don't go. Never have. Just try to please. Do what's expected. Bloom where I'm planted. But then the answer germinates in the soil of my mind. I see a potted plant, roots protruding from the drainage hole in the bottom, to go, bursting to grow. After weeks or months or years of putting its root system down, of consolidating its power, husbanding its resources, it has reached a crisis point, lost its equilibrium, has to go, has to grow. I run down to the cellar and root around for a larger pot, a little larger only, so my vulnerable plant won't wilt in the unstructured vastness of a new world without apparent walls. I have to smash the old pot to rescue my restless plant, impacted root system now naked in my hand. A small sacrifice, but a radical operation to deliver the plant from death. When is it that I know I have to go someplace else? When I have to grow or die. So even when we know we have to go, there is still that thing that never leaves us that we've been talking about as the thread, that unchangeable knowingness, right? Some of us call it Christ consciousness, Buddha, Jesus, love. I invite you to call it your high vibration quality essence that you have made a commitment to embodying, expressing, experiencing more fully this year. That is a thread, unchangeable, that high vibration. One of my high vibration qualities this year is love. Love doesn't change. Love is constant and consistent, unconditional love. So, what is it that you have outgrown? Because you haven't outgrown your thread, right? Think about outgrowing Christ consciousness, Shay. What would that look like, right? So, it's not the things that we have outgrown. So, today I want to layer this with another needle, if you will. We're going to thread another needle. and look at what Mark Nepo calls insights over time. He calls it the necklace of acceptance. And I like to call it it's the dots that come together, the dots that line up, right? It doesn't appear when you're in it to be related to anything else that may have happened in your life. But with some perspective, you can see how this thing led to this thing, and then 10 years later to this thing, and so on and so forth. So I want to share a little bit with you from the fifth season, which is Mark Nepo's latest book, which I am absolutely loving so much. So this is what he says about insights over time. Insights gather over time without our realizing the connections between them until we have lived long enough and deeply enough. I first experienced this in my early 40s when I discovered that 6 individual poems, which I had written over 18 years, actually formed one sequence, which became the title poem for my book, Sweet for Living. They were never meant to go together. They were meant to go together all along. It seems I was the last to know. Has that ever happened to you? Like you're working on something and you all of a sudden realize, oh, wow, this is related to this. That happens to me all the time when I'm doing my sermons. So I'll be, working on a sermon, and all of a sudden I'll remember a piece from another sermon and realize, oh, wow, this is really another component of a sermon that I gave maybe 5 years ago. And I could see the thread. I could see was connecting them, if you will. And so sometimes we go into non-acceptance. We resist instead of accept that things are connected. That especially when we may have had a negative experience, we may have a difficulty seeing how that negative experience is connected to something that is good now. I want to share one other piece that he says here. I want to explore such a constellation here. I'll name this one the necklace of acceptance. It's weave learnings from 5 books written over 23 years. How do they go together as one became apparent to me recently. Together, they point up the different passages we encounter in the growing work of acceptance, which is crucial to aging maturely. So, there is what I like to think of as everything is one thing. Everything is one thing. And sometimes when I am really introspective, when I'm in a space of self awareness and curiosity, I can see that something that I had been unwilling to accept becomes necessary for me to accept in order for me to move through and grow to whatever I need to grow into. So the invitation is to outgrow the resistance of acceptance, outgrow the resistance to acceptance, and instead be curious about how this thing that you may be in resistance about can be connected, can be connected to something else that already occurred, or it could be the beginning of something in the future that hasn't even occurred yet on this physical plane. That we can hold this as a possibility that everything, let that echo, everything works together for my highest good. That everything works together for your highest good. Our highest good is a thread that never changes. Our highest good is unchangeable. So, that is the invitation for today as we continue to layer our thread. We're going through identifying what our thread is, right? So spend some time identifying what your threads are. And a wonderful way to do that is through your inspirational journaling. Just ask the question and be open to inner guidance. What are my threads? Those things which are unchangeable, reliable, dependable, consistent. God, love, Christ consciousness, Buddha. What are those things that are unchangeable? And then explore what you may have outgrown. Outgrowing limited beliefs, outgrowing relationships, outgrowing jobs, outgrowing a way of seeing something, whatever it may be, so that you can plant yourself in a new pot. And then just be curious about your life timeline and see how the dots are lining up. See how these things are connected. We don't live a disconnected life. We live a connected life. We're connected in our own life and we're connected with each other. So that needle of acceptance supports us in holding things a little closer so that we can see through the eyes of acceptance. All right, y'all. All right. So let me check in with y'all. Good day, Pamela. Good day, Linda. I'm basking in sunshine as the next winter comes tomorrow. Linda, girl, we are basking in sunshine here in New York because it is going to be cold for the rest of this month. So I'm getting all my errands in today because it's supposed to snow this weekend and it's going to be bitter brick cold for the rest of January. So I'm right there with you in preparing for what is to come. Good day, Shay Love. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Shay, let me know if I can share your beautiful affirmative visual poem tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll do a roll call, see where we are with our essence for 2026. A lot of people have sent me their essence for 2026. This might be the longest list I've had since the very first year of doing it. So we'll do a roll call tomorrow. And now let's get into some joy news. So we are approaching the weekend. And as you know, I am the spiritual leader at Rockland Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a new thought center in New York. This Sunday, we will be having service virtually. And even if we were supposed to be in person, I probably would have said, oh, no, not with the snow that's supposed to come. We're virtual this Sunday, which means wherever you are, you can join us on Zoom. Go to rocklandcsl.org for the Zoom link. And for January, we are in our Ancient Wisdom New Thought theme. And I love this month so much in January for CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, because we reviewed the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind magazine. And this January, we are combining that with this beautiful book, Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, which I just love so much. So we're combining nature and these wonderful stories of our indigenous ancestors. So join me on Sunday, 10:30 a.m. My talk is Infinite Possibilities and Sacred Kinship. So I hope you would join me online for that. We also live stream on Facebook. Also, please save the date. We will have our next full moon meditation on January 29th, 8:30 p.m., right where you're watching me now. And it's our first full moon meditation of 2026. So please join me. It's going to be a wonderful one. Experience a full spiritual practice with the energy of the full moon. So that's 8:30 on January 29th. All right. All right, y'all. That's all the joy news I have for you today. We will wrap up the thread series tomorrow. I hope that you are taking the questions into contemplation and just seeing what might bubble up for you. Yes? All right. If you need any support, you can reach out to me. I am an interfaith minister and spiritual life coach. I support people in transforming their lives by connecting to their yes. So if you are saying, oh, Melissa, 2026 is my year, I am 100% in to live my purpose, to live a purposeful life, I have a vision, and you need support in taking the necessary steps, I am here to support you in that from a spiritual perspective. So you could direct message me on social media and we could set up some time to talk. All right? All right, y'all. Peace and blessings, peace and justice. We are living life in joy, connected to our yes.